What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys with my next archetype video, and we're going to talk about the fairy tale monsters. So, although this archetype does not have a ton of monsters within it, this is an archetype I felt that could easily be done because it's very, very short to the point. All the members were accessible, and honestly enough, they have a bit of lore behind each of them themselves. So we're going to take the time to actually talk about these lovely fairy tales and uh, the synopsis of them and much more. So the fairy tale archetype is a series of monsters that are based off of princesses from fairy tale legends. Funny enough, that each of these monsters have a unique theme about them. If you can tell at the end of their tales, which each of them have, they have a book attached to them, or a form of book attached to them. The fairy tale monsters themselves are animal-like base, but they are all spellcaster type monsters, sharing the same attack, defense level, and attribute. Level 4, light attribute, 1850 attack, and 1000 defense. Currently at this time, the only one that was ever hit by the Forbidden Limited list is Fairy Tale Snow, who here in the TCG is Forbidden, and in the OCG, I believe, is semi-limited. So, the fairy tale archetype will consist of these monsters, and I'll go over each one, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So, we're going to start off with, of course, the first monster of the archetype. This is Fairy Tale Snow. She's level 4, light attribute subcaster type monster. 1850 attack, 1000 defense. Her effect reads: if this card is no monster summoned, you can target one monster your face up monster your opponent controls and change it to face down defense position. During either player's turn, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 7 other cards from your hand, field, or graveyard to social summon this monster. Her first release was in the Dark Illusion. Fairy Tale Snow, surprisingly enough, was relatively good when she was later upon her release. This was due to the fact that decks that like to mill tons and tons of cards could easily support this monster, and she was pretty much a walking book of moon. Fairy Tale Snow worked in decks such as Light Sworn, combination decks with 60 card decks that use the grass is greener, and Infernoids, Zodiac, just a lot of high tier decks used her. And even before her banning in her limited status here in the CCG, Thunder Dragons took advantage of her because of her banish mechanic. Fairy Tale Snow is based off of Snow White, if you can tell through the apple that she's holding in her hand and the beautiful dress that she is wearing. It is a resemblance to um, Snow White. Her animal depiction is of a squirrel with the fuzzy tail and the ears. This was also a little trait just to, I guess, play around with the whole fairy tale aspect, as she is the only pink. She is one of the 2 pinkish uh, fairy tale monsters. Funny enough, she did not get a name translation in the game. She is still known as Fairy Tale Snow in both the OCG and the TCG. So that is Fairy Tale Snow. Next up is Fairy Tale Rella. This is another light attributed monster with 1850 attack, 1000 defense. And her effect reads: neither player can target monsters on the field with spell cards or effects, except for this one. Once a turn, you can discard one spell card to equip one spell card from your hand, deck, or graveyard to this card, but return the spell card to your hand during the end phase. So she is really good with a lot of equipped spells. Funny enough, Fairy Tale Rella will be in the is said to be in the next revived structure deck for Phoenix Gearframe because she has the ability to get equipped spells. Fairy Tale Rella is based off of a dog, and she's actually Fairy Tale Cinderella in the OCG. She is depicted as Cinderella in her beautiful gown that she gets from her fairy godmother, and if you can see on her feet, she has um, the little glass slippers. Her color, of course, is blue, was supposed to be a bluish white combo, and it's also signified her being Snow White. I mean, not Snow White, but Cinderella, and how Cinderella's dress was a beautiful shade of sky blue. The other thing about this monster is the animal depiction of a dog. We kind of think it just has to. We have no exact idea. Maybe it has to do with their variation of Japan's variation of Cinderella, or maybe there is some more tale to Cinderella. Unlike Fairy Tale Snow, which you can tell her being a squirrel, that was more so of the fact that Snow White had a lot of interactions with the animals in the forest that she lived around with her and the seven dwarfs. But other than that, that is the beautiful Fairy Tale Rella. And now we move on to Fairy Tale Sleeper. Fairy Tale Sleeper, light attribute spellcaster type monster with the same stats as the others: 1850 attack, 1000 defense, spellcaster type. This lovely lady comes to us from, just give me 1 second. Invasion of Vengeance. So this lovely lady has her effect of Flip. When this card is summoned, you can summon one monster from your hand during either player's turn. When an opponent's monster, uh, when an opponent activates a normal spell or trap card, you contribute one monster you control to negate to have the effect change to charge one face-up monster your opponent controls into face-down defense position, and you use this so I can Fairy Tale Sleeper once per turn. Fairy Tale Sleeper in the Japanese is known as Fairy Tale uh, Tiara, because the L is actually replaced. It's supposed to be in the sound of an R. Fairy Tale Sleeper is actually based off of Sleeping Beauty. For as you can tell, she is very much asleep, and she actually is in the form of a cat. I guess because it's the whole things of cats being known for sleeping a lot, and it's just a very cute contrast to Sleeping Beauty. Because Sleeping Beauty was asleep due to a curse. Cats just sleep normally, but her effect is pretty much a way to Book of Moon your opponents. You get a lot of those effects through a few of the fairy tale monsters. She honestly has a decent enough effect, but Fairy Tale Snow was just a lot faster. But it is a cute design, nevertheless. We're going to move on to the last fairy tale monster, and that is Fairy Tale Luna, known in the Japanese as Fairy Tale Kagiri. This light attribute spellcaster type monster, 1850 attack, 1000 defense. When this card is normal summon, you can add one spellcaster type monster with 1850 attack from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, quick effect. You target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Your opponent sends one card from one. Yeah, sends one card with that monster from the deck or extra deck to the graveyard to negate the effect. Otherwise, both players um, both this card and that card will return to hand. So Fairy Tale Luna effect actually works well with pretty much a ton of monsters in the game who do have 1850 attack. One of the most noted is the familiar Possessed, because they all share the same attack of 1000 of 1850. There are some monsters in the deck that she was that in the deck that she was released in. Um, the structure deck being the Endymion structure deck that was revised, where she can search for a good portion of those monsters because they had 1850 attack. She was also a common in that set. Her look and appearance is based off of a fox, and she comes from the story known as The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter, which is funny enough because that's where Kagiri, the fox princess, comes from. Fairy Tale Luna overall, she is in the shape of a fox. She's wearing uh, a kimono, and unlike the other fairy tale monsters, she's holding a book on her tail. She's holding a scroll on her tail and not a book, but books in ancient Japanese times were scrolls, and you could read the scrolls just like a book. Fairy Tale Snow. Fairy Tale Luna, why I call her Snow. Fairy Tale Luna comes to us from Maximum Crisis, where she was a secret rare. I mean, super rare. Um, and like I said, she is Kagiri in the Japanese, and the Kagiri falls through that fairy tale of the bamboo cutter, where I think she was the love interest. I don't really have much information about Kagiri, other than her fox like combination, and that she was known in that fairy tale of the bamboo cutter. Other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it for these four lovely ladies. Um, Surprisingly enough, if they ever do get more support, would love to see it, as well as the fact that there is going to be reprints of these of a few of these sooner or later. In terms of them in as a deck strategically, they do synergize well with each other, putting others face down or face up, having to rely on their Book of Moon effect to deal with a lot of cases. And overall, I think it's just a really good archetype that could easily be fleshed out. But some of their pieces work well in other decks, so they are taken advantage of. Sadly enough, it does count for Fairy Tale Snow, who ended up getting her limited and in ban status here in TCG. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tidbit of the Fairy Tale archetype. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. You guys will be informed of when I do some more uploads. Thanks everybody for watching. HBJ signing out.